morning, afternoon, evening, late night, Monday morning, whatever it is. Gonna try to go through these pretty quickly, but not too quick. What we want to do is identify. That's all, and there'll be one of each of the four on your test, and so just being able to identify is just a good thing. And there's no math to it. You just got to recognize the patterns. Number one, we've got x squared and y squared, so that rules out a parabola immediately. We have addition between the two squared terms, so that makes it either a circle or an ellipse. But because these guys are both 4, try to imagine that in an ellipse, you'd have the same number in front of the parentheses. So that means you would be going in the same direction up and down as you are right and left. So because of this balance, that actually is going to create a circle. And what will happen is those 4s will probably just cancel out entirely. Okay, but we don't have to do that. That's not what the problem is asking. Now here we see the same situation, but now there's a 7 and a 9, so therefore there's going to be an imbalance. One, it's going to wobble. It's going to either squeeze in or expand out a little bit more than a circle. So that does make it an ellipse. Okay, so those two are unequal. Notice how I'm not caring about the other terms. That's identification is not required to figure out what those are. Now this one, we see a negative in front, but we'll also see that there is no y squared. And so without a y squared, you're going to have a parabola. All right, so this guy's just a parabola. And again, there's really no math involved there. What is it? Dot. Like a reflection or something. I just see this dot right there. I wonder what that is. Sorry, now I broke it. Let's try it again. I don't know. It's a dot, some reflection somewhere. Anyways, this guy, we see they both squared, both imbalanced, but they're subtraction, so it's got to be hyperbola. Okay, that's that. This one's just finding the radius. Okay, so the radius of a circle has to be positive. So we're going to look at the square root of this guy, but we don't care about the negative version of the square root. So the radius of this guy has to be 2. Identify the center, number 6. So identifying the center does require us to do some run a procedure. Okay, so we're going to have x squared plus 20x. So we're going to go ahead and put that in parentheses. And then we're going to have y squared plus 2y. Now notice that I'm setting this up so that I'm going to complete the square. So the x's with the x's, y's with the y's, and then we're basically going to use that formula. We cut this middle term in half and then square it. So that'll be 100. So make sure that you add it. First thing, do not do this. Do it immediately so you don't forget. Cut him in half, then square it. That's going to be 1. All right, so 101, I believe it's going to be 49, right? 49, yes, 49, okay. All right, now that actually is going to be looks like that would be the radius because this is a circle, but what's going to happen here is I just want the center. All right, so what I do is I take the x here, I see the positive, so that has to be positive. Remember, we're unfoiling this, okay? Nope, that's a y plus, just take the square root of that guy, take the square root of that guy. And just remember, if this was x plus 10 times x plus 10, that would give you this, okay? Because see the 20x, that would happen. That little formula that we do is what guarantees that this is going to happen, okay? That's why we do that formula. All right, so anyways, this is going to be negative 10, negative 1 for our center. All right, and that'll be D. All right, now this guy says, let's make this a general form, okay? Now what we have here is standard, and so now we're going backwards. We're going to complete the square, okay? So what you've got to do, and you can do these in 2 different steps if you want. You can figure out what this is, and then figure out what this is. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll make sure that we add a negative 16 over here after we get all this big long string, and then we'll see which one happens. There's 205. Okay, now this guy actually isn't even, that's a hyperbola, so that actually can't be a possibility. So now I got a 1 in 4 chance. So let's see what happens. I'm going to get x squared plus 5x, and then 5x again, so that's 10x, and then plus 25. This guy's going to get, so now, remember, I'm multiplying these two, and then I'm going to add on whatever these two are multiplied. All right, so that's the order of operations there. Okay, and 14 times 14. I don't actually know. 16, 5, 4, 1, 196. Okay. So, oh, that's a y, sorry. All right, so I got x squared plus y squared plus 10x plus 28y. And then I just got to figure out what those numbers are. I'm going to move this negative 16 over here. That'll be 180. 180 plus 25 is 205. Okay, and so it looks like that guy, it's all pluses, and that top line there is all plus, so the answer is A. Let's do a couple more. I'll try to take these to the 10-minute mark and then end them. Now we're going backwards. So we actually had to do this already for a previous problem, so let's just do our standard procedure here. Okay, now look, it looks like y is actually, we're going to move that guy over there. Looks like y is all by himself, so that's great, which means that this problem's already done because the only one that has y by itself is this guy. So let's just make sure that this is what happens. That would be have it 13, square that, that's 169. Add 169. Okay, but that's all right. We're going to square root this guy anyway. I only put the 169 so that I would know what to add over there. That's going to give me the 4, and then this would be our minus 13. Okay, so E is the correct answer. So multiple choice is going to be very beneficial for you on this test. All right, identify the vertices. Okay, so the vertices is not the center. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to maybe use some, you'll have a graph paper as scrap for this. But I got to go and put these guys at their right location. That's 9 and that's 4. It's not the scale, but I don't care. What I want to know are the vertices. Now the vertices happen, this is a ellipse by the way. The vertices happen on the major axis, which is the bigger of the two. Okay, if it said co-vertices, which could be on the test, the co-vertices would be associated with here because he is a smaller distance. The vertices are going to be associated here. Okay, so what I'm looking for is I'm going 9 up and 9 down from here. Now I'm already at 4, so it might help, okay, to think to yourself, if I'm going to add 9 going up, because that's the square root of 81, then I would go all the way up to 13. But notice that my x-coordinate is not going to, it's going to stay the same, okay? So even though I'm going up and down on the y, my x-coordinate is not changing, okay? So I'm going to go down 13 here, and that would take me to, what is that? That distance would be like negative 9 up 9, so it would be negative 5. Negative 5. 9, negative 5. Okay, and if you need to count it, you know, draw the whole thing on the graph paper, whatever, just as long as you can count carefully, okay? All right, so your two vertices then are 9, 13, and then 9, negative 5, which is C, okay? All right, that's all you need for that. Identify the length of the minor axis, okay? So the length of the minor axis. This is definitely an ellipse. So it looks like, let me just grab the calculator. I imagine the square root of 196 is 14. I thought I just calculated that. It is, okay. So this is 14 squared, and that is 3 squared. Okay, so let's just think for a second that we are, this is at what, 3.5, and that is at 2.5, okay. So I'm over 2.5 and 3.5. So I'm over to the left 2.5, and I'm up. I'm sorry, 3.5, and I'm up 2.5. Okay. Now I really don't have to do this because what I'm thinking is I'm going. If I'm going 3 this way and 3 that way, and I'm going 14 this way and 14 that way, then what's happening is that I've got 3 here and 3 here. That is my minor axis. This is the bigger one, okay? So the length of my major axis is 28, but the length of my minor axis is just 6. So this was kind of irrelevant because if I just look at the smaller value here, if I took the square root, I know what it is in that direction and that direction, so just double it, okay? So in a way, you're going the opposite direction of what we do when we complete the square. We square root it and then double it, right? We square root it, then double it. Okay, so the answer for this guy is 6.